Commanders fans. So I know you guys know how I feel about Deebo Samuel in the trade. So the trade is official now. I think everybody knew this was going to happen. Just the connection with Adam Peters and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Adam Peters was with the Niners, as we all know, for many, many, many years. So I knew they were going to make a favorable deal and make a good deal for both sides. We only gave up a fifth round pick for Deebo Samuel, which is not bad. Which, let's say a team trades for Jonathan Allen, which they may not. Maybe we get a fifth round pick for Jonathan Allen and we could recoup that fifth round pick that we gave up for Deebo Samuel. Now, for me, Deebo Samuel, he needs to be on a weight plan. He needs to be on a diet plan. He needs to be running around with a trash bag on or whatever, because the way he looked in that Eagles jersey during Super Bowl radio row or media row, I mean, that was not a good look. He looked out of shape. He looked overweight. And this season, he didn't have a great season this past year. Now, I know everybody's going to make excuses. A lot of people were injured and stuff. Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams. I don't want to hear excuses. He dropped passes last year. He did. Now, I do think there's ways that he definitely could work on his offense. I think what we wanted in Curtis Samuel and a little bit what we wanted from Antonio Gibson, I think Deebo Samuel is what we were looking for in those guys, in a sense, where he can be a wide, where he calls himself the wide back and running back wide receiver, where the wide receiver screen that we complain about, that, Terry wasn't great at doing wide receiver screens except for the Lions game in the playoffs. That was like his best wide receiver screen. And then De'Ami Brown was our best wide receiver screen guy. We have a guy who legit is built and has made a career off of wide receiver screens and reverses and jet sweeps. And that does add a different dynamic to the offense. Another good thing I will say about Deebo is, I know it's 2023, but just to get Eagles fans riled up, because the Eagles fans are always in the comments and stuff like that, and just they have us rent free in their minds. They win a Super Bowl and they're still talking about Jaden Daniels 24/7. The last time Deebo Samuel played against the Eagles, I know it was 2023, which was years ago now, but he had 4 catches, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. The last time he had 93 yards receiving and 4 catches. So the guy, he still has some left in the tank. He had a down year, and chemistry and culture is another thing that I'm looking at with Deebo Samuel. He was complaining a lot last year. He went on Twitter and complained about touches. That's something that I don't want. That's something that we don't have in this locker room. Terry McLaurin's not that kind of guy. I think Deebo he's a tough guy. He's a mean guy. He's a guy that you want on your side for sure to go. If you want to go into an alley and go into a fight, you definitely want Deebo Samuel by your side. He's very physical. He did punch the long snapper. I didn't like that, to be honest with you. Just stuff like that. Some of the antics, complaining, going on Twitter, complaining about touches during pressers, and the next game you drop a pass against the Bills, you drop another pass in the next game. Those are the reasons everybody's like, why aren't you a big fan of the Deebo Samuel trade? Those are some of the reasons that I have concerns about trading for Deebo Samuel. The other options to me was signing Amari Cooper in a free agency for free. You wouldn't have to trade a pick. Maybe Stephon Diggs. I know I'm not the highest on Stephon Diggs because of the off the field things, Cardi B and whatnot. And maybe DeAndre Hopkins, maybe Hollywood Brown, maybe some guys like that have familiarity with Cliff Kingsbury. Those are some of the options that I would have explored, and I think we can still do that. I think we still maybe potentially sign Amari Cooper and draft somebody as well. But we're definitely not drafting a receiver high, in my opinion, after doing this. I don't think we're going to do that. I think we may go edge or something like that. And, Myles Garrett is still not off the table. We'll see what happens with that. But those are the pros and cons with Deebo Samuel. You look at his So we are going to take on, this is what ESPN tweeted out. We are going to take on his contract. Let me see where the tweet is at. I know somebody just tweeted it out. I got to pull it up. That we're going to take on his contract. So I'm not all the way down on the trade. John Con says Washington has had players they wanted to use like Deebo. Now they have Deebo. Trade is still pending a physical right now. Washington is taking on the remainder of Deebo Samuel's contract and paying his full $17.55 million salary for the 2025 season per sources. So he only has 1 year left on his contract. So this could be a 1 year rental. So we'll see how this goes. But I will say, like I said, he brings physicality. He brings toughness, run after the catch ability. Some of the route running, separation is not something he's really going to give you. You are going to have to manufacture touches for Deebo, but he does have a knack for getting open and yak and all that good stuff. So his best season was the 2021 season where he had 1,405 yards receiving. That's the only season he had over 1,000 receiving yards, and he's been in the league for 6 years. So he's only had one season he's had 1,000 yards receiving. Yeah, six touchdowns in that season, 8 rushing touchdowns. That's just an insane season. 365 yards rushing as well, which is pretty darn insane for a wide receiver. Last year, he played in 15 games, so he's been healthy for the most part. He's played at least 12 or 15. He's played at least 13 games in 5 out of the 6 seasons in his career. Last year, he had 51 catches for 670 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is not a bad season for him. It was a down year, but for any receiver in the league, 670 yards is pretty good. For him to be a number 2 receiver, I think that's his best role. And I think at times last year, honestly, he was like the 3rd option. He was behind Brandon Ayuk. Like Brandon Ayuk was a better option. Ricky Pearsall at times, Juwan Jennings, George Kittle. But like I said, I don't want to be too negative on this, but I'm just saying my opinion. But I do trust Adam Peters. I will say this: I trust Adam Peters. I believe in Adam Peters. You look at other trades that have been made. The Cowboys traded a 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo. We got a 3rd round pick for Jahan Dotson. So the value is really, really good. I'll say that the value, a day 3 pick for Deebo Samuel, is really, really good. And we'll see. They may potentially do an extension as well as what I'm hearing as well. They may do an extension for Deebo Samuel to keep him on the roster for more than just that 1-year deal. So Adam Peters, he's traded for Marshawn Lattimore. That one is still, the jury's still out on that, and we'll see how this goes with Deebo Samuel. But I do think they need to have him on a weight plan. So San Fran will absorb a $31 million dead money hit on this year's salary cap. Samuel, who has 1 year remaining on his contract, will count $17.5 million on Washington's salary cap. It's possible the Commanders extend his deal, so we'll see what happens with that. Another stat for Deebo Samuel: 92 missed tackles for since 2021, 19 more than any other wide receiver, which is pretty insane. So this is going to help Jaden out a lot. It is, and we needed to help a young quarterback out, a young elite quarterback out while he's on his rookie deal, while he's on his rookie contract. This is what we needed to do. You have to maximize his contract, and scared money doesn't make any money. I love that Adam Peters is being aggressive because we see other GMs in the NFC East be aggressive, and this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. So you look at the picks that we have. We have our 1st round pick still. We still have a 2nd round pick. We still have our 3rd. We have a 6th round pick and 2 7ths. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have six draft picks right now. We have 6 draft picks right now. So maybe we trade back and gain more picks. We'll see what happens with that. Or I'm seeing we have a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, and 3 7ths. So either way, we still have six picks in the draft. We have 6 picks in the draft right now. But the Deebo Samuel number 1 jersey is going to be tough. It is going to be tough. I might cop one. I'm not going to lie. I might get a number 1 Deebo Samuel jersey though. But another nugget too was per Diana Rossini. She said the Texans and Broncos, who were interested in Deebo Samuel, they're not expected to make a trade offer for 49ers Deebo Samuel. So that's another thing where it's like, could you have waited for Deebo Samuel to be released and then potentially get him? So I guess Adam didn't really want to wait to see if that could happen because another team could just hop up and trade for him. So they didn't want to take that risk. But the Commanders were the most interested and the most aggressive at it. And then Deebo Samuel mutually had interest. He said he wanted to play with Jaden and likes Cliff and has a connection with Adam Peters as well. That's what people were saying about this situation. So I do want to see how Cliff uses Deebo Samuel. Is he going to do a wildcat formation at times? 4th and 1, use Deebo Samuel. 4th and inches, use Deebo Samuel at times. There's so many ways we can get creative and put pressure on the defense. I'll say that as well. You cannot double team Terry McLaurin anymore. You have to pay attention to Deebo Samuel. That's another thing I like. This is Terry McLaurin's best counterpart. This is his best wide receiver number 2 in his career. Jahan Dotson was really good his rookie year. I'll give him that. Curtis Samuel was decent at times. But this is definitely Terry's best wide receiver number 2. This is what I'm happy that they got Jaden another weapon, and I'm happy that they got somebody else that can put pressure on the defense that you have to game plan for, because every time we went up against another team, everybody was game planning for Terry, but the other guys is like, okay, we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. So they can't just double Terry McLaurin anymore. I love that he's going to be on one-on-ones every time. You can't double him. You can't bracket him. You have to pay attention to Deebo Samuel. You got to put pressure. You put pressure on the defense with Deebo Samuel's running ability and also just his yak ability and be able to get open at times. So that's what I like about the trade as well. So, but yeah. So I mean, like I said, the jury's out. Am I 100% in on it? Maybe you could have waited for DK Metcalf. Other teams are interested in DK Metcalf and having conversations. Garrett Wilson, we'll see if he's really going to be available. I think that's one thing too. A lot of people that want Garrett Wilson, is he really available? Is he requesting a trade? That's the thing as well. Chris Godwin is going to go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers most likely, and T. Higgins is going back to the Bengals most likely as well. So the pickings for wide receiver were getting smaller and smaller and smaller by the day, approaching free agency. So like I said, I'm intrigued by the trade. I am happy that we got another guy that can put pressure on the defense. We got the wide back in Deebo Samuel. We got a guy that can help Jaden Daniels out. Jaden Daniels has some weapons to work with. Let's see what we do at the running back position. There was a lot of guys who ran really well at the combine and had elite RAS scores, so we'll see what happens with that. Do we add another tight end in the draft or through free agency? We got to upgrade the running back position like I talked about in the offensive line. Let's not forget about the offensive line as well. Let's not forget about the offensive line. Sam Cosmi, we'll see what happens with him coming back. And then left guard, let's see if they start Nick Allegretti again. So right guard, pending Sam Cosmi's healthy and ready for game one. Left guard, if they keep Nick Allegretti, left tackle most likely will be Brandon Coleman. So those are the three spots that I'm paying attention to on the offensive line. But like I said, hey, we got the money. Go spend it. Go make something shake. Go make something happen. And I do think it adds another dynamic to the offense for Cliff Kingsbury to be creative. It puts pressure on the defense again, like I said. And we have a legit wide receiver number 2 to Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin is making more than Deebo Samuel, which I like this year. And we got to extend Terry too, man. Congrats on the wedding for Terry McLaurin, and congrats to him getting married. But like I said, Deebo Samuel, get him on that weight plan, man. Get him on that diet plan. I want to see him in shape and coming in healthy. He still has to keep some of that good weight so he can, be that bruiser that he is, that tough guy. And like I said, I do want to see him in the locker room as well with the post-game pressers and stuff like that. How does he integrate with the team? How does he get along with the team and the chemistry and stuff like that? So those are the things I'm intrigued about to see with Deebo Samuel. As always, you guys let me know what you guys think. As always, Health Commanders, peace.